Okay, ladies and gentlemen, here we are. Welcome back to the channel. My name is Zeppelin, and today I am finally getting to make a video that I have been wanting to make for a number of days now after finishing listening to this EP, and that is the review of the Mayday EP by The Warning. Now, originally I had planned for this video to be quite scripted, as you can tell by the setting that I'm in here. I was going to do a stand-up thing and make it way more scripted and better edited, but when I was thinking about the EP, I felt like it was just better to stand up here and talk about it kind of from the top of my head and just give you my thoughts in a sort of more natural, flowing way as to why I really enjoyed the EP, which, believe me, I really enjoyed it. So in the EP, of course, I have my track list here in case I forget the names, because I'm a really forgetful person when I stand up to do these things. So we have Disciple, Choke, Animosity, Z, Evolve, and Martyrio. And I am just going to say it as Martyrio, even though I have a feeling it's the wrong pronunciation still. I'm going to say it like that anyway, because if I get too focused on that pronunciation, I will just say it differently every single time and it'll look even worse. I'm just going to stick with my guns and be stubborn here. So getting into this band for me was definitely a journey I'm really glad that I've taken, but one that also scared me a lot because I was really delving in deep to a new fandom who had spent a long time with this band and are deeply obsessed in the nicest way possible. I don't mean that as an insult, but a lot of the Warning Army, as you call yourselves, and I'm hopefully I've been accepted by, you're very, very passionate fans, and therefore I do want to choose my words carefully when I talk about the Warning, be it in reactions or review formats such as this, because ultimately I really enjoy the band and I really like you guys, and I want to be honest with my opinions in terms of how I feel about them musically, but also do you guys justice and do a good service, because you guys have been so important to raising my YouTube channel to what it is now. You've doubled my subscriber count. My views have never been higher than this before, and that's all just because of the support the Warning Army has showed me for the most part, and for that I am forever grateful, which is why I'm even doing the review in this sort of format. I want to kind of up the level a little bit for you guys. We are going to do the ratings of the song from best to worst in my opinion. I'm going to start off with the best for the moment, and that is still Evolve for me. Now, as I have said in reactions before, if people have been watching all my reactions, including the live ones, that I feel like Evolve is one that could eventually become my least favourite because it's the first I've heard and I play it over and over again. And as I get deeper into the band and into their albums and appreciate their other songs within the Mayday EP more and more with each listen, Evolve may fall to the wayside for me, but I've got to be honest with how I feel now. And Evolve is definitely up there as my favourite from the EP at the moment, but it's as we go further down where things got a little more difficult in terms of discerning which I preferred. My second favourite, I think, in this EP was Z. I just really enjoyed the sound of Z. It felt like a fun song, a song that didn't take itself too seriously. I enjoyed the playing on it, I enjoyed the vocals, I enjoyed how the song rose throughout, and it's just one that I feel like I could blast at a party easily enough, and I think is a good entry song for people into the Warning, because you have to remember, a lot of people when they listen to music, they listen to it on nights out and stuff like that. They're not really sitting trying to digest new music necessarily, so you want a song you can play in public to people, get them in the groove, enjoying the song, and then after that get them to delve into the deeper stuff with their band. And I believe songs like Evolve could work for that, but I think Z is absolutely perfect for that, and that's why it is so high on my list. Number 3 now is definitely a hard one for me, and even still I'm really debating it in my mind, because I'm really enjoying listening to Choke at the moment, but Martyrio, in terms of how it builds in the end, is something that I really, really like, and I want to give that number 3. And then I also really, really like the chorus in Animosity. I had originally said that Animosity might have been towards my bottom 2, but I really, really like the chorus in that. So I don't know, I think it's a real tough one for me. Even now as I'm making this, as I said, there's no script, so I'm kind of still debating it at the top of my mind, but I think at the moment I have to go from the one that I would listen to the most, and I think it has to be Choke. Now, I know I gave Choke a bit of a hard time for sounding a bit more mainstream, and people have told me out of the EP that it is the band's least favourite, but I've just found myself listening to that song more than the ones that I put in the bottom 3 of the list. However, I think that is one that had most easily changed for me. I think Martyrio is one that could really go up there instead of Choke. But for the moment, I'm just going to stick with my guns and go with Choke. But just know that decision in particular was a hard one. Well, that means number 4, well, it's not necessarily easy because I did say I like the chorus and Animosity, but just in terms of the build of Martyrio and the potential in songwriting that I heard from Martyrio, I have to give that a number 4 out of the 6. And purely because I really hear in that where they can go moving forward as a band in terms of really, really excellent songwriting. Not to say that they don't write excellent songs already, but I think all of the Warning Army will agree with me that one of the most fascinating and exciting things about the Warning as a band is the fact that they are really good now as a band, but their trajectory could be really, really good. Like, they can go way higher than they've gone now. I said the same thing about Greta Van Fleet. You know, I really, really disliked their first album. I liked their first EP, disliked the first album, but I said I really thought they had potential to go places as they really began to find their sound and not just be considered a Led Zeppelin cover band. And then they released the Battle at Garden's Gate album, which I reacted to on this channel, and while it still had some issues, I was thoroughly impressed by it and kept saying that this is a band that's only 2 albums deep. They have a long way to go, and I think the Warning is in the same boat here, except the Warning would be way more original now already than what Greta Van Fleet were. Now we go on to the bottom 2, and this is where fans may get annoyed. I was even in one of my live streams yesterday talking about what I was thinking of this list because I said that I was making this video, and I did say that I think Animosity was in the bottom few there, and no one was really mad because the people that come into my streams are super, super respectful and respect my opinion, and I respect their opinion. They're absolutely brilliant people. I love the people who come in and check out my streams. They have been fantastic, but they were not necessarily happy that I put Animosity in the bottom 2, and I feel like it has to go there purely because I just don't find the verses of the song that engaging overall. Now, I know it's sort of ironic when I said that I was enjoying Choke when it was a mainstream one, but there's something about Animosity that, I don't know, just personally it didn't stick with me as much as Choke did in terms of maybe having a more mainstream, or not even mainstream, because mainstream's harsh. You can have good mainstream stuff. It just, the verses in terms of progression didn't interest me. Now, I know Animosity lyrically has some deeper stuff in it, which on re-listening to it, I've picked up on more and more. But as I've said before in my reviews, I can't really get into the lyrics of a band until I've experienced the song a number of times and have gotten more experience with the band. It's just how I connect emotionally. It takes me time to connect to things emotionally, so I don't judge off lyrics off the bat, but I am aware that the lyrics are most likely a strong point in this song, and later on that could mean Animosity has a higher place in my list. But just please take that into account when I am saying when I put Animosity in this place. It is simply because of the music for me. I haven't taken the lyrics into proper account, and I am aware of that. And then we go to the bottom of the list. Now, this is one that may get me some hate comments, but hey, it's opinions here, all right? And this EP is brilliant. This is a very high standard of EP. Keep that in mind when I'm saying this is at the bottom of the list. I am not saying it is bad, but Disciple for me is definitely at the bottom of the list. The chorus of this song does some nice things through the second part of it, but for the most part, this song just simply doesn't interest me. It's got some decent harmonies, but the verses don't interest me. The oh whoa things that happen, even though they harmonize them, just gives me horrific flashbacks of Imagine Dragons, as I said before. And again, I got to bring up Muse at least once per video just to annoy people. But Muse done it in one of their songs, Talk Contagion. And yes, it's brilliant live. It's brilliant to get a stadium to sing. But in terms of a studio song, I just don't like when they do it. I don't like when Muse did it, and I gush about Muse all day. I think Talk Contagion is a song that is brought way down because of it. I think it's a poor song, and it's the same here. I don't like when they do those type of things in song. It really lowers it in how I view it when that is done. It's still not a bad song, and I will still listen to it. It just, in the context of everything else around the EP, it's just at the bottom of the list for me. If I was to sum up this EP in one word, I would sum it up in the word explosion. The reason why I would say explosion is because the sound of this EP is just really, really good. Every song kind of hits you in a different way, all in an enjoyable way. And I feel like this EP is going to be the catalyst to propel the band really, really far forward within the next few years, along with the second half they're going to release, because I think I was told that this is actually the first half of a full album, but because of lockdown and COVID, they decided to split it into two or something along the lines like that. I know this is just like half a body of work, really. But the quality and standard of production and writing and everything in this EP just really screams to me to be a level above what they've done before and going forward. Now, a lot of people say what they've done before is great, and I haven't listened to enough of it yet to make that opinion myself. But I feel like this band has very much been on a journey. Now, this is again just me guessing, has been very much on a journey of, you know, them and their fans, the Warning Army, slowly but surely growing, kind of having their own little group that's very interactive, very supportive, and I absolutely love that. But a band, I think, eventually to go into the stratosphere just needs to have that album, that EP, that just kicks them up a level where it's not necessarily people that would be in a fandom or fans of them that are going to listen to their music. It's going to eventually be radio songs. It's going to start being world tours instead of North America tours or just Europe tours or whatever. I'm finding it hard to explain now because, again, I've said a million times now, this isn't scripted. But I think people will know what I mean when I say that there's just like a real A to B in terms of that next big jump to where they become a super famous and popular band. And I feel like the Mayday EP really is that turning point for them where they will go on to that next level and be really, really recognized. Like, I see a world tour coming from this EP. I think this EP is really going to raise their popularity in terms of the production that has gone into it. It has those like music videos. I hear it's the first EP where they've been signed. So these are all like really big things to consider in terms of where the band is going forward. And if everything beforehand was the catalyst to this EP, I think this EP is going to be the catalyst for a lot of things that are going to happen in their future. Now, before we give this EP its final review, I do want to talk about the one thing that does worry me about it, and it's again going back to the fact that people were telling me they've split this EP and it was originally supposed to be a single album. Now, I know this may not have necessarily been a concept album. I'm not too sure on that, but I have a feeling it wasn't going to be. But if it was originally supposed to be one body of work, it worries me as to why they were split up and if it's going to affect the listening of it. Like, are they going to release the second EP under a different name, or is it going to be like Mayday Part 2 and it's all going to combine then into like a complete edition album where you're supposed to just listen to the first EP and then the second EP? Because I feel like when you split an album, you're sort of taking away from the journey that that album is supposed to take you on, unless the album was written to just be more like a bunch of singles and some of their best work and there is no real connection there. In that case, it's completely fine. But if there was any sort of running theme or arc throughout the album, I believe it may suffer from being split. But to go back to a band I like, Nothing But Thieves, they ended up doing an EP that was a sequel to their third album because they felt like they weren't done with the topics on the third album. And to be honest, that EP as a whole is probably better than the entire album. So it's not something to be overly worried about. It's just something that would concern me because I would hate to think that the album was split up for marketing reasons at the cost of maybe its artistic weight as a piece of work. You know, these girls, they're clearly very tuned in musically. They understand the value of music and an album and a journey because that last album that they've done, apparently from what I'm being told, is a concept album. So they understand the weight of a body of work, and I'd hope that it wasn't split in half for marketing reasons. It probably wasn't, but it's just something I wanted to voice as a concern for me, and I'm sure you guys in the comments can let me know. You guys as fans will be way more educated on that than I would be. It's just something I'd like clarification on, if there is clarification to be provided. With that being said, it's time to get on to the final review and the final score of the album, or the EP, sorry, should I say. And what I will give this EP is an 8.5. And an 8.5 is quite high for me. And the reason I want to give it that height is that, look, if it was the full album, it may have gotten lower because naturally you're just going to have songs on a full album that sound more filler than other songs. And kind of the good thing about an EP is, again, I know it's a split album, but maybe it's very front-loaded and they put a lot of their good songs on this one, made it a good EP. Hell, maybe the whole EP part 1 and part 2, it's all amazing songs. It's possible. But there's a chance they could have front-loaded this with all their best songs, which may make the second one suffer, but I do think this EP is still very good because of it. Again, we'll see. It all depends on what happens with the next EP, but I'm trying here to just review this EP as its own body of work and not take into consideration any work that's come before or after, and view it just as what it is. And what it is really, really damn good. Every single song on here is between an 8, 8.5 and a 9 in my opinion. Well, except Disciple. I'd maybe put Disciple lower down towards a 7, but I think that's more personal opinion in terms of what I like in music than, you know, an objective, oh, it's a 7 out of 10 song in comparison to everything else. The standard of this album is really damn high, both in terms of production, the writing, the instrument playing, the singing. I was thoroughly impressed by this album / EP, and I would highly recommend this to anyone. I think it's a very good EP that makes me excited for the future. Is it perfect? No, it is not perfect, but in music there rarely is perfection. But I do think it is going to be a massive piece in their discography in terms of what they'll look back on and see as the moment where everything really began to kick into the next gear, which I'm very confident that things will kick into next gear with this band. They are going to jump up levels throughout the years in this game, and I am super excited to see that happen, and I can't wait to go on that journey with the Warning Army. With that being said, let me know what you think of this review, what you thought of my reactions in the comments below. Please make sure to subscribe if you enjoy this content and want to see me react to more of the Warning in future, because I definitely do plan to, and I do hope to see you in the next one. We're doing Queens of the Murder Scene next. It's going to be great. I'll see you then. Peace.